"She's an unwanted burden," Dad typed in the family WhatsApp. My aunt replied, "Remove her." I stared at my phone, my hands trembling. Then my coworker leaned over and whispered, the bank's page just posted this." I'm Brielle Carter, and I'm 34. I work as a customer support specialist at a local bank, the kind of place where you know the regulars by name and the lobby always smells like paper and coffee. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. I grew up trying to be easy. I was the kid who didn't ask for much, didn't cause drama, didn't cost extra, because my dad made it clear from the time I could understand words that I was too much just by existing. My family always treated my older brother like the one they praised, the one they invested in, the one whose future mattered. I was the backup plan they didn't want to fund. My brother got the new clothes, the tuition payments, the encouragement. I got leftovers and lectures about gratitude. I wasn't rich or glamorous. I didn't have connections or a fancy degree. But I had something they didn't expect. I understood how people tell the truth when they think nobody's watching. Years of sitting behind a bank counter taught me that. People reveal themselves in paperwork. They reveal themselves in the details they think no one reads. And that WhatsApp message? It didn't just hurt. It was the moment I realized my own father was willing to ruin my name in front of the entire family to protect his pride. That was the day everything changed. If you've ever been made to feel like you were too much for the people who were supposed to love you, hit subscribe. Seriously, you're not alone. Drop a quick comment below. Have you ever been shamed by your own family? And click hype or like so more people who get it can find this story. It started on a Tuesday night. I was in my apartment heating up leftover soup, scrolling through my phone. The family WhatsApp group had been quiet for a few days, which was unusual. Then Dad sent a long message. He said his small business loan payment was behind and he needed everyone to pitch in. He listed amounts. He tagged people. He made it sound urgent, like the whole family's reputation was on the line. I read it twice. I felt that familiar tightening in my stomach. I typed back carefully. I said I couldn't send money this month. Rent was due in 4 days, and I was saving for a professional certification that could help me move up at work. I was honest. I was polite. I even said I was sorry. It didn't matter. Dad's reply came fast. "You've always been a burden. You take and take. You never give back to this family." My aunt jumped in immediately. "Stop embarrassing your father, Brielle. He shouldn't have to beg his own daughter." Then my brother. "Just send something, Brie, even a little. Don't make this harder." I sat there staring at the screen, my soup getting cold. The smell of it turned my stomach. Nobody asked if I was okay. Nobody asked what I was saving for. Nobody cared. The humiliation got sharper when Dad added one more message. "You owe this family for everything, everything." Even though I'd been paying my own way since I was 19. Even though I'd never once asked him for $1 after I left home. I put my phone face down on the counter and went to bed with the sound of notification buzzes vibrating against the tile. The next morning at work, I was at my desk trying to focus when my coworker Janelle pulled her chair close to mine. Her eyes were wide. "Brielle, you need to see this." She turned her phone toward me. Our bank's official social media page had posted a fraud awareness example as part of a compliance campaign. It happened regularly. But this time, the attached screenshot included a loan application I recognized. The name was partially redacted, but not enough. I could see the address, I could see the business name, and one line was highlighted. It was my father's application, and what it said on that line contradicted everything he'd just told the family about me. The days that followed felt like walking through a fog made of whispers. The first betrayal came quietly, like a knife slipped between ribs while someone smiled at you. I found out my family had planned a weekend meeting about the loan situation, not from a direct invitation, from a forwarded voice note my cousin accidentally sent to the wrong thread. In the recording, I could hear Dad's voice, calm and measured, saying they needed to figure out the Brielle problem before talking to the bank. My aunt agreed. My brother said nothing, which was somehow worse. I wasn't invited, I was the topic. That stung more than being insulted, being talked about like a broken appliance they needed to deal with. I replayed that voice note 3 times, sitting alone in my car in the bank parking lot, the engine off, the windows fogging up from my breath. The second betrayal was louder. My cousin Angela turned 28 that Saturday, and the family gathered at a restaurant downtown. I almost didn't go, but Angela had personally asked me, and I loved her. The evening was fine until the toasts. Dad stood up, glass raised, his face warm with that charm he could turn on like a faucet. "Some kids are investments," he said, pausing for a laugh, "and some are expenses." He looked right at me. The table laughed. Not everyone, but enough. I felt the sound of forks against plates and the low restaurant music fade into a ringing silence in my ears. I smiled because that's what you do when you've spent your whole life practicing how to absorb a blow without flinching. Angela squeezed my hand under the table. She didn't laugh. The third betrayal was the most calculated. My brother called me 2 days later. His voice was low, almost rehearsed. "Look, Bree, just say sorry in the group chat. Make it public. If you don't, Dad's gonna tell everyone you're the reason the loan's failing. He'll say you promised money and backed out." "I never promised anything," I said. "Doesn't matter. He'll say it and everyone will believe him. You know how this works." I did know. That was the problem. I started noticing patterns I'd been too close to see before. They didn't want my help. They didn't value my opinion or my presence. They wanted 2 things from me: my silence and my money. As long as I provided both, I was tolerable. The moment I stopped, I became the villain. When I told my brother I wasn't apologizing for telling the truth, he sighed like I was a child who refused to eat her vegetables. "Stop being dramatic," he said. "You made it public first," I replied. Dad typed those words in a group with 37 people. The call ended with a warning. Dad was going to show proof that I was disloyal to the family, unless I sent the money and posted an apology. The pressure was suffocating, like the walls of my small apartment were leaning in. But something else was building inside me too, something quiet and steady, like the hum of a machine warming up. What they didn't know was that I'd already seen the back end of how lies collapse. Working at a bank teaches you that. I'd watched people sit across from me with confident smiles while their paperwork told a completely different story. I'd seen marriages unravel over hidden accounts, businesses dissolve because someone thought a small lie on an application wouldn't matter. It always matters. I realized the bank post wasn't random. It came from a scheduled compliance campaign our team ran quarterly. The screenshot was supposed to be fully anonymized before publishing, but someone on the marketing team had missed a step. The redaction wasn't complete. You couldn't see the full name, but if you knew the address, the business name, the loan amount, you knew exactly whose application it was. And I knew. I sat at my kitchen table that night with my laptop open and started collecting everything. WhatsApp exports with timestamps, every message Dad sent calling me a burden, every reply from my aunt, every pressure text from my brother. Then I pulled up the part of Dad's application that made my blood go cold. There was a detail on that form that directly contradicted his family narrative, and if anyone at the bank looked closely, it could trigger a formal review. I wasn't planning to destroy him, I was planning to stop him from destroying me. I wasn't going to scream, I was going to document. I had a plan they never saw coming. The ally I needed came from the last place my family would have expected. Her name was Tasha Reed. She used to work as a cashier at Dad's small convenience store about 3 years back. She quit after Dad accused her of stealing from the register. "Missing inventory," he said. Tasha knew the truth. The inventory wasn't missing. Dad had been pulling cash to cover personal expenses and needed someone to blame. Tasha kept everything: receipts, text messages, screenshots of conversations where Dad tried to rewrite what happened. I reached out to her through a mutual friend, and we met at a coffee shop near the highway, the kind of place with sticky tables and strong coffee that tasted like it had been brewed twice. "I always wondered when someone in your family would finally see it," Tasha said, stirring her cup. He does this. He rewrites the story until he's the victim, and whoever pushed back is the villain. She showed me messages from when Dad tried to get her to sign a statement admitting fault. She refused. He fired her and told everyone she was a thief. Meanwhile, the family was getting more arrogant. Dad posted in the group chat again. Everyone knows who the problem is. My aunt added, "She'll come crawling back, they always do." They had no idea what was coming. Tasha and I spent 2 evenings comparing timelines, cross-referencing dates and numbers. Dad's loan story didn't match his own paperwork. The amounts he told the family he owed were different from what was on the application. The dependents he listed didn't match reality. The family meeting was scheduled for the following Friday. My brother texted me the details with one condition attached. I could attend only if I apologized first. I read the message, set my phone down, and smiled for the first time in weeks. I didn't go to the family meeting. I went somewhere else entirely. On that same Friday, I requested a formal sit-down at the bank's mediation office. It wasn't a courtroom, it wasn't dramatic. It was a small beige room with a rectangular table, fluorescent lights, and a compliance representative named Mr. Owens, who had a calm voice and a very organized folder. I brought Tasha. I brought my documents. I brought every exported message, every timestamp, every piece of evidence I had gathered over the past 2 weeks. Dad showed up because the bank contacted him about inconsistencies on his loan file. He didn't know I'd be there. When he walked in and saw me sitting at that table, his face went through 3 emotions in 2 seconds. Surprise, anger, then something I'd never seen on him before, fear. My aunt came with him, of course she did. "What is this?" Dad demanded, pulling out a chair. "A review meeting, Mr. Carter," Mr. Owens said evenly. "There are discrepancies in your loan application that need to be addressed." Dad turned to me. "You're trying to ruin me, my own daughter sitting here trying to ruin me." I looked at him. My voice was steady. I'd practiced this in my bathroom mirror, but it turned out I didn't need to practice. The truth has its own calm. "No, you tried to ruin me in public. You called me a burden in front of 37 people. I'm just bringing the truth into the light." My aunt leaned forward. "Family stays in the family, Brielle." "Funny," I said, "because you didn't keep it in the family when you called me a burden in front of everyone. You made it public. I'm just responding in kind." Mr. Owens opened the file. He pointed to a line on the loan application. Dad had listed me as a dependent. He claimed he was financially supporting me. He used my name to strengthen his application, to make his household appear larger and his financial responsibility appear greater. The same man who called me a burden in the family chat had written on a legal financial document that he was supporting me. I slid the printed WhatsApp exports across the table, timestamps and all. Tasha provided her supporting evidence, the pattern of Dad blaming others for his own financial decisions. Mr. Owens studied the documents quietly. Then he explained in that same calm voice that false statements on a loan application trigger a formal review, that there could be consequences. Dad's face went pale. He looked at my aunt. She had nothing to say. For the first time in my life, the room was silent, and I wasn't the one shrinking. I stood up. "I'm done paying for a story you made up about me." I walked out of that building and into the parking lot, and my hands were shaking. Not from fear, from release. It felt like I had been holding my breath for 34 years and finally exhaled. The air outside smelled like rain and asphalt and something clean I couldn't name. Dad and the family were left behind in that room, facing a formal review, damaged credibility, and the sudden, disorienting reality that I wasn't available to be their scapegoat anymore. That evening, I opened the family WhatsApp group one last time. I didn't type anything. I just read the silence. Then I blocked it. I poured myself a cup of tea, sat on my couch, and opened the study guide for my certification course. The apartment was quiet, the kind of quiet that doesn't feel empty. It feels chosen. Being someone's daughter doesn't mean being their target. I can love people and still choose distance. If your family ever tried to shame you publicly, especially in group chats where everyone piles on, you know how deep that cuts. Subscribe and share your story in the comments. Have you ever been blamed for someone else's mess, then watched the truth slip out anyway? This is a community for people who stop apologizing for existing. Click Hype to help this story reach others who need it. Standing up for yourself is tough. If you've been there, subscribe and become part of our community. Let me know this story helped by clicking Hype, and tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel.